Tower, wind 080 at 7, runway 6 right, cleared for takeoff. Fly runway heading until reaching 1000, then on course. JetBlue 2984, Orlando Tower, winds calm. Runway 18 right, cleared to land. Skyhawk 7774, Juliet Langley, Regional Tower, winds 233 at 9er, runway 7, cleared for takeoff departure to Trinity.
Delta 2259er, pushback and engine start approved. Report when ready for taxi. Skyhawk 3, Alpha Zulu, cleared to land runway 35, winds 273 at 16. 570 Salt Lake Center, I'm not seeing your transponder. Confirm squawking 1742 mode C. Ident one more time for me. 570, welcome to Glacier. Contact ground on 121.6.
Piper 555, November Sierra, New York approach. Good evening, Farmingdale, altimeter 29er74. Citation 972, Mike Kilo, Rio ground taxi to holding point runway 20 left via Bravo, hold short of runway. Information Kilo is current. Report when ready for departure. Delta 2259er, contact tower on 118.9er when ready for departure.
Golf Mike Mike. After departure, climb and maintain altitude 3000, turn left, heading 2.
Hey, everybody. Welcome to Vectors to Final, our weekly check-in. I'm very excited about this. I always am. I actually really enjoy these. Let me see if I can get some better lighting here. That's not better. Maybe that. No, that's not better. We'll try that. That's all right. I really look forward to these because I mentioned this last week. For me, it's a time to sort of reflect on what we've accomplished the previous week and what we've got going into the next week. You know, the weekend is our busiest time, so this is sort of the end of the work cycle for me as we enter the weekend. We'll try not to release new code on weekends and, you know, things like that. Not major new code anyway, so that people have, the best experience that we can deliver on the weekends. But let me get myself situated here. By the way, I love the comment in the pre-meeting chat. Oscar says, I asked Harley about the Vietnam War. He wanted to keep it to aviation, but then proceeded to tell me how important it is to fly under radar in enemy territory. I think that's hilarious, only because it sort of embodies the caricature that we were going with for Uncle Harley. That's so funny. Let me dive into this. We actually have a surprising amount of content to talk about today. This took me off guard at how much we've gotten done in the last week. So let's dive in. Last week, during Vectors to Final, we said we were working on these things. I took a screenshot of the what we talked about last week, and I said these are the things I'm working on this week, or we're working on this week, not just me. IFR approaches and arrivals and dynamic departures. We wanted to get the volume controls on your dashboard of your airplane linked to the volume control inside the simulator. We wanted to talk about better chatter, and I promised an announcement today. Stay tuned. We've promised that we're working on VFR in Europe. It's a huge task. Each country there has its own way of doing VFR, and they're all very unique and very different. But we're committed to getting it right. We promised we were working on regional accents, more bug fixes. We talked about Taxi Tuner version 2, and then, of course, improving response times even more. By the way, fun side note, because I can't remember if I put it anywhere else in here, I was able to shave off another 0.6 seconds from the response time with some optimization that we did. I know that doesn't sound like much, but we watch that number very, very closely. And it hovers anywhere from about 5.5 seconds to generally 5.5 to 6.5 seconds, but it depends on the transmission. Some take a little longer, some are a little shorter. But shaving off, 0.6 seconds is a lot now. That's, 5%, 10%, performance improvement when we can get, small margins like that, especially if they're consistent. So yay, win there, and we're not done. We want that response time to be snappy, and we have some more ideas for how to get it down even more. Here we go. So how did we do? Well, version 2.5.2 of the app is now live. We'll talk more on that in a second. Oh, I mentioned 0.8 I put in here. It's what I was measuring last night, but it's probably closer to 0.6, so don't hold me to this. New voices deployed this week, so check. We promised some regional accents and voices delivered. We're going to talk about that. Dynamic arrival support now includes transitions, so check. We talked about a lot of work on VFR. In fact, over 65 dev hours this week were spent on IFR arrivals. Still not perfect. Heck of a lot better today than they were last week. More progress on reducing SimBrief reliance. I love SimBrief. No problems with SimBrief at all, but in the real world, we want ATC to take a more proactive approach to managing the flight and the flight plan instead of just relying on executing whatever plan is that SimBrief gave us. So we'll continue to use SimBrief for routing, and collecting the performance profile of the aircraft and the equipment on board the aircraft, but that will be the ultimate goal is that becomes the extent of it, and all of the departure and arrival stuff that sits on each end of the route will be managed by ATC. We're about 75% of the way there now, and this is the right way to implement it, so I'm very excited about this. Taxi Tuner V2 is live. We'll talk more about that in a second. Actually, my lighting here is terrible as I'm looking at this monitor here. We'll flip this around and see if it helps. We now have, this is a huge milestone for us. We have more customers outside the U.S. than we have inside the U.S. We have a new feedback form, and I mentioned the dev hours. So lots of stuff to talk about here that we're gonna be here a minute. How about this? This alone should be the mic drop this week. I'm sorry. I know we have something else that I promised to announce, but I actually consider this to be the bigger announcement, which is 155 new voices. Mr. Justice McCracken is a voice wizard. And this is so cool. We hired 155 new people, everybody. We got 8 Italians, 8 Swiss, 11 French, 11 Indians, 18 Brazilians, 13 who are Polish, 22 Mexicans, 21 Spaniards, 18 Germans, 14 Dutch, 14 Aussies, and a partridge in a pear tree. I am so excited about this because this has been a long time coming. This is enormous. This has been, a huge amount of work to get this done. And I want to talk about voices for just a minute if we can, because it's one of the things that I'm proud of here at SayIntentions that sets us apart. I want to give you some samples of the new voices, and then I want to talk a little bit about what it takes to create these voices. So here we go. I'm going to let you hear all of these. These are just random samples that I grabbed. Here we go. And by the way, these were live. I pulled these right out of the system. So here we go.
Redcap 282 negative. You're in controlled airspace right now. Make your request once you're outside of my airspace, okay?
Oh, I love that. I'm sorry. That's one of my favorite voices right there. I don't know why I like the Australian accent so much. I think it's so cool. First of all, are you guys able to hear that okay? Do I need to turn volumes up or down, or everything's okay? Just let me know. All right. I'm going to play another one. If I need to change the volumes, let me know. I want to play that one again because I think it's so cool. Listen to this accent, you guys.
Redcap 282 negative. You're in controlled airspace right now. Make your request once you're outside of my airspace, okay?
Yeah, I love that. Okay, here's another one.
Golf 25 Mike, descend and maintain 8000, QNH 1018.
There we go.
Papa 2 Bravo Golf Delta, Moresby Info, Squawk 4432 and ident.
Beautiful. These are awesome.
New Zealand 600, contact departure. Goodbye.
Nice. How about that? Listen to this Indian voice. I mean, this is This is yeah, it's not Merza says it's not authentic. He didn't say too easy. I love that. All right, here we go. Here's an Indian voice. Check this out. Listen to how authentic this is. Oh, that's not what I wanted. Here we go. I clicked the wrong button.
I-Fly 356, descend via Butler for the ILS runway 25 approach into Chennai. QNH 088.
Oh, okay. And you know that one's authentic. You know that one came from us, and I didn't make that up because she said QNH 088 at the end. Yes, it's a known bug. Yes, I'm trying to find it. We'll get it out of there. But that's how you know it was authentic, right? And I really did pull it from something that someone really did here. Okay, here's a Dutch accent.
EJU223, welcome to Schiphol. Contact ground on 121.56.
Not bad.
Speedbird 5 Kilo Alpha, climb and maintain flight level 200.
Corsica 12 Bravo, contact departure on 123.825.
Not bad. How about some German?
Lufthansa 3 Hotel Papa, Munich radar, climb and maintain flight level 100.
Pretty good.
Eurowing 6900, read back correct. Expect runway 25, contact ground on 118.605.
All right, here we go. Another German here.
Daher TBM 123, contact Stuttgart Tower on 118.8.
Now look, typical Dutch says he approves of the Dutch voices. That's how we know he's
Honda
good.
Jet Kilo Romeo India, welcome to Bydgoszcz. Taxi to parking at your discretion and monitor this frequency.
Oh my gosh, these voices. Sorry, I have to play the Australian one again.
Redcap 282 negative. You're in controlled airspace right now. Make your request once you're outside of my airspace, okay?
Love it. Okay. Whole pack of new voices. 155 of these. What an enormous accomplishment. Please, if you see Mr. McCracken in our Discord, tell him thank you. He's been working nonstop and tirelessly on this, and it's been an enormous project for him. And that lighting is still just awful. I'm going to switch it back to where it was. Okay, let's move on here, because I want to talk a little bit more about voices. Yeah, that Polish voice, right? Let's hear that again.
Honda Jet Kilo Romeo India, welcome to Bydgoszcz. Taxi to parking at your discretion and monitor this frequency.
Wow. I mean, that's not bad, right? Swedish, yeah. There's, well, no, let me think. I got to check on that. Let me get back to you on that. All right. Why is it so hard to add more voices? Why can't we just light up 1,000 of these or 10,000 of these, right? The issue is that ATC has a very unique cadence. They speak fast, but they sound bored, right? Think about that for a minute. Turn left, heading 225 vectors for the ILS, right? Or, you're cleared to send via the RNA2 arrival, let me know when you're blah, 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 right? Enter left downwind, runway 23, let me know when you're on base. They speak, again, it's fast but bored, right? So it's actually very hard to replicate in the AI world, because the off-the-shelf AI voices, all the ones that are out there, all of them sound like cartoon characters or book narrators, right? And the reason for that is because that's what most people are using AI voices for, right? So when we go to these really high-end AI voice providers, and trust me, we're using the best of the best, everything they have in their stock portfolio is designed around book narration or creating video game characters, et cetera, et cetera. Let me give you an example of what this sounds like. I'm going to let you hear a stock AI premium voice, right? This is what you get out of the box, and this is one of the better ones. And by the way, the other, there's other folks trying to bring AI voices into ATC, and this is, based on the way they sound, I'm making the assumption that this is sort of typically what they're grabbing, is stuff like this. Here you go.
193, Yeaburn Airport at your 1 o'clock, 19 miles. Change to advisory frequency approved. Radar service is terminated. Squawk VFR. Have a good afternoon.
Right. So you hear that and you go, well, there's nothing wrong with it. But at the same time, it sounds nothing like an air traffic controller. So I'm going to let you hear the SayIntentions version. Here we go. This is after a lot of custom work and curation and voice design. Voice engineering is really the best way to think of it. So here you go.
193, Yeaburn Airport at your 1 o'clock, 19 miles. Change to advisory frequency approved. Radar services terminated. Squawk VFR. Have a good afternoon.
And let's go back to the regular one.
193, Yeaburn Airport at your 1 o'clock, 19 miles. Change to advisory frequency approved. Radar services terminated. Squawk VFR. Have a good afternoon.
And back to the SayIntentions one.
193, Yeaburn Airport at your 1 o'clock, 19 miles. Change to advisory frequency approved. Radar services terminated. Squawk VFR. Have a good afternoon.
So you can hear there's an enormous difference that we have when we throw out the stock AI premium voices and we focus more on custom curating and designing the voices to sound the way that air traffic controllers sound. An enormous difference. So why does it take so long for us to light up a new region? What makes this so difficult? Well, the first thing you need to know is that in order to bring an authentic experience to a new area, let's say we were going to, start over with Australia, when we had no Australian accents and we were starting over. The first thing we need to do is get 6 voices, 6 different voices. We need a clearance controller, a ground controller, a tower, some sort of TRACON/radar, a center controller, and then in the U.S. anyway, typically a flight service station or something similar. Different countries do this differently, but roughly 6 voices is what it takes to light up a region, right? And you go, well, 6, that's no big deal. Why can't you just light up the whole world? You don't have enough. Well, the problem is if we only had 6 voices, then every airport you went to would have the same 6 voices. Across the whole country, you would hear the same guy on center, or at every airport, you'd hear the same person on tower, et cetera, et cetera. So the challenge here is that we need to not only introduce a different voice for each position, right, but we need to make sure that we have variety between the different airports. By the way, those 6 people, we call that a voice pack. That's a pack of voices that's enough to light up one airport. All right, so what do we do to light up an entire region? Well, we start adding more voices. Now I can do it so that every airport you go to, there's a 50% chance that the tower voice sounds different, right? If I have 2 voice packs. 3 voice packs, now we're roughly, a 1 out of 3 chance that the tower voice controller sounds different. If I can add a 4th, now you got about a 1 out of 4 chance that the tower voice controller sounds different. And I can start mixing and matching these a little bit to try to bring, some authenticity and variety to the experience. But now lighting up an entire region with new voices isn't one voice, 6, 12, 18, 24, right? You get the idea, right? A ton of new voices to light up a region properly. And this is just the beginning because we also have to worry about chatter, right? We got to make that chatter sound good and in the local region as well. And you can start to see the size of the problem. And it gets even worse when it takes right around 50 to really bring an authentic experience to a region. And we spend on average about an hour per curated voice. It's really not simple to create these. It requires somebody with a lot of knowledge about, voice engineering to create this authentic sounding experience. We lit up 155 new voices. You can do the math on how many voice packs that is. It's a lot. But this is going to go a long way towards really bringing a more authentic feel across the world. One thing to keep in mind, though, is that, in areas where we have holes, for example, if we don't have enough voices in, insert favorite country here, then we fall back on the American voices. And we're slowly shifting that so that we fall back on, some of the lesser quality AI voices. But, that's a transition that's taking a little bit of time as we move everything over. Anyway, this is huge news. 155 new voices. I should have made this its own Thursday announcement, but I wanted to get these in you guys' hands. These are live as of right now. And we deployed about a third of them last night, and the rest of them were deployed today. So this is all brand new. Taxi Tuner V2 is here. We said it would be 3 to 5 weeks since before V2 was out. It's been 2 weeks. Ryan is a machine, and I'm the guy is awesome. The one amazing thing about working with Ryan is that he is way, way, way smarter than me. And that is a lot of fun when you know, we're in that situation and we can hand Ryan extremely difficult problems that are high value problems, meaning, you know, there's a lot to be gained by solving them, and he just goes to town and goes nuts. V1 would allow you to change labels on existing taxiways, right? And V2 now allows you to add and remove taxi routes. So you can now completely redesign the taxi and runway system at airports, which is, you know, huge. Well, you can't change runways, but you can redesign the taxi routing around them. This is a big deal because it means that all airports can now be fixed using Taxi Tuner. V3, I'm going to call it 3 to 5 weeks away, will allow you to add points of interest, ramps, gates, buildings, parking areas, fuel stations, de-icing pads. All of that are things that you'll be able to add in V3 to an airport. I'm very excited about this because we'll also make it so that you can assign an airline to a gate as well. So when you land and you get your taxi instructions, not only will you be able to request a specific gate, but ATC will by default send you to the gate that's most appropriate for your airline once this is all done. Interesting question. Let's go back to voices for a second, because in the chat room there's a really, really, really good question, which is what is technically happening when an ATC voice breaks and, you know, switches gender suddenly. You know, 1 minute it's a male voice, the other minute it's a female voice. That's a good question. Please report those to us, because what they are is it's basically an unstable AI voice, and we need to get those out of there or sort of redo the voice. By the way, 155 new voices, or 152 voices, whatever that number was. In a month, we will probably remove 20% of those due to issues of, I mean, they all seem fine to us now. We've tested them all, and they all seem really, really nice. But we'll discover, you know, over time that a certain percentage of them will need to be pulled out because they are not stable. This is the, you know, in the ChatGPT world, what hallucinating is when the AI starts making things up. Well, in the voice world, these unstable voices are basically the equivalent of that, where, you know, it's supposed to be behaving one way, but all of a sudden it shifts. We can fix them, we can get them out of there, we can re-engineer the voices, et cetera, but that's what's going on. Morrissey Monkey, do I have to manually install the Taxi Tuner updates, or are they automatically updated in SayIntentions updates? You know, we flight simmers, we've been hurt. We have trust issues. We live in this world where if you want something to be different or new, we have to download it and install it in our plugins folder and rejigger our computer. Guys, those days are so gone with the world that SayIntentions lives in. All of the data lives in the cloud infrastructure. So as taxi information is changed and updated, it's live immediately. There's nothing to download. There's nothing to change in your simulator. There's nothing to put in your plugins folder. All of this stuff just plain works, right? It's just available immediately. So, yep, all good there. In fact, it's funny. We have some people who say, "Oh yeah, the way I do it is when I'm cruising to my destination, when I'm at that cruising altitude and I'm bored, I open up Taxi Tuner and fix the taxiways at my arrival airport, and then when I land, I get perfect taxi instructions." That's actually true. And not only that, but you know, if once you've created really, really nice taxi instructions for an airport, you can choose to publish those, and everyone can take advantage of that. So nothing to download, nothing to do, nothing to change. All this stuff just works automatically. It's really, really cool. All right, let's move on here. New feedback form. Please, please, please use this. I would be very grateful to you. But at the end of your flight, you're going to see something that looks like this, where it says, welcome to, oh, I promised to turn the light off. Let's do that. Welcome to Eagle. Take a minute to rate this flight. And if you click that rate this flight button, a little window is going to pop up here with a form. Hopefully it takes you less than 10 to 20 seconds to fill out this form. If you don't want to provide comments, that's fine. They're helpful, but if you don't want to provide them, that's okay. Please at least quickly choose the right numbers here, hit submit. That goes into a system that I review personally. I look at every single flight that gets submitted. Yes, it's a lot. But, you know, my job is to make sure that we're on top of, knowing where we have issues and things like that. So please take advantage of this. This will give us a really nice way to consolidate the feedback into one area. And I'm really, really looking forward to having the data organized like this so that we know right where to, sort of precision focus our time. Thank you for using this when it shows up. I appreciate it. Okay, this is a lot. What are we working on now? IFR approaches and arrivals. Yep, we're not done. We got a lot of work to do still, but we're making significant progress there, and not slowing down on that. The VFR in Europe. Yep, still working on getting it right. So first two, same, getting lots of attention there. More regional accents. Yep, we're not done. We're gonna keep going with this. I'm very excited about it. General bug fixes, always. Taxi Tuner V3. We're shifting our focus to this as we tighten up the bugs in V2, and Ryan basically smooths out the experience in V2. We'll start shifting towards V3. Improving the response times even more, always a focus, but it's an active focus, meaning we're actually writing code constantly that helps this. And then, of course, we're preparing for FS Expo, which is starting to take an increasing amount of time. However, we do have a wonderful announcement ready for FS Expo, so we're looking forward to that here it's actually only about 3 weeks away. If you're going to be there, please stop by and say hi. We'd love to meet you guys. We'll be there in a big way. I will be speaking for an hour on Sunday at the expo on the topic of AI and flight simulation. It will not be about SayIntentions. It will be about the topic of AI and flight simulation. We have a big announcement on stage, and then I've got an interview as well that we're doing, and we've got a great big booth, and yeah, we'd love to have you stop by and say hello. And then, of course, we have a fun surprise for next Thursday as well. At some point, I'm going to run out of fun surprises. Good question here. Justy, are you able to create your own version of taxi maps for airports that have different scenery, or can you choose one someone else has done? The answer is you can do both. So if you have custom scenery that you want to make it work just for your setup, yep, you can definitely do that. It's just yours. You're the only one that would get it and use it. Or if someone else has done that particular airport with your particular scenery, you would be able to see that in your list and just grab it and say, that's the one I want to use when I'm at this airport. It's really cool. You can really curate this experience to be yours. All right, let's move on here. What's coming later? This is our long-term roadmap. This does not change much from week to week, but terrain awareness, virtual airline integration is possible for the future. NOTAM awareness, scenarios in 2024. And then, of course, we want to get chatter that matches the environment, traffic-aware instructions, traffic injection, living world where the airplanes and the flight schedules roughly match what you're seeing in real life, and you're hearing the traffic and you're seeing the traffic, and it all feels just like you're sitting at that airport or flying around that airport. All sequenced together, all working in this wonderful concert with one another. This is, I call it the dream scenario because we're a ways away from being able to do this, but we can do things right now that that don't require a crazy amount of traffic injection awareness and sequencing that will still make this feel more alive and vibrant. So specifically things like just being traffic aware, not telling you to land on a runway if there's an airplane on that runway, for example. That's the kind of stuff that we can do basically right now. Once IFR is stable, IFR arrivals are stable, and we're consistently getting, scores of 4s and 5s on IFR arrivals on our survey feedback, then we'll shift our efforts into traffic awareness. But I really, really, really don't want to start adding crazy new categories of features until we've achieved a level of stability with the existing stuff. That's really important to me. Okay, here we go. Version 2.5.2.0 is now out. It has just been released. The volume knobs inside your airplane can now control the respective volumes inside of SayIntentions. Super cool. Reach up, turn the knob, volume changes. We've made significant improvements to self-detection of the anti-malware issues and AI speech recognition retries. Those of you who say things like, gosh, I don't understand it, ATC ignores me, and then I have to restart the app. A lot of times that's anti-malware software that's blocking access to the microphone. So we've made some improvements here to at least notify you when that happens, and we've also made some improvements to just, some general ways to get around that, but none of it's great. And then, of course, we fixed the comm volume issues that people were complaining about. I hope this is much, much, much better now. Overall, this is a fantastic release, and I'm very excited about it. However, I did promise you one more thing. Here's our Thursday announcement. Again, I got to make sure that this doesn't become a thing because I'm going to run out of stuff to announce every Thursday or big mic drops every Thursday. But here we go. Version 2.5.2.0 has a one more thing inside of it. This is really cool. By the way, 2.5.2.0 is available as of right now. And here it is. If it works.
Harley, how do I get a VFR flight following?
We've got our old...
To get VFR
all right, you get to listen to Harvey because it's attached to this slide.
Contact ground control and request it.
Sorry, hang on.
For example,
I got to stop
Van
this.
Nuys ground, Skyhawk 123 Alpha Zulu. Request VFR flight following to Santa Barbara.
All right, let's do this here. There we go. Oh, come on, Harley, stop that. There we go. Oh, we found it. Okay, we got it out of there. All right, here's our one more thing. Sorry about that, guys. Chatter. We have a complete re-architecture of Chatter that is actually wildly cool. You can see these new controls here. New Chatter system. Yay! Let's talk about this really quick. Oh, goodness. Sorry. I've got... I turned the sound off for you guys, but now it's in my ear. PowerPoint wants... No, PowerPoint doesn't need access to my camera. There we go. Here we go. All right. This is the new Chatter tab in the new app. Yeah, multiplayer only Chatter. Big whoop. Yeah. Well, check this out. Oh, big win. I thought you were Kip. I thought you were saying big whoop. Like, oh, that's stupid. I don't want any of that. No. Here we go. Yes, multiplayer only Chatter. Here we go. This is so cool. First of all, you still have control. If you want to use that canned chatter that we have, you can turn that on. And by the way, yes, I think we will be generating and creating new chatter for all of our new airports, positions, voices, etc., so that the canned chatter gets an upgrade. That has not been done yet, but I think we're going to do that. The second one is live multiplayer global. What this means is if you turn this on, you're going to hear other pilots live anywhere in the world who are talking to the same controller type. So if they're talking to Tower and they're in Budapest and you're in Texas, you're going to hear each other. And it's kind of okay. The third one is live multiplayer proximity. This is the main one, right? If you're in multiplayer mode, this will let you actually hear the other pilots around you if they're on the same frequency. It's really that simple. If there are other live pilots around you and they're within, radio range of you, you'll hear them as long as you're on the same frequency together. Cool. The fourth one is the mic drop. This is really, really, really cool. Pre-recorded multiplayer proximity. What this means is if you're sitting on the ground at, let's say, JFK, and you're tuned to the ground frequency, you will hear what other pilots have said in that area in the past. So you'll hear their interactions with ATC. It'll sound like they're live, but they're not, right? So I was messing with this last night. I just parked myself on the ground at Van Nuys and dialed up the clearance frequency and listened again and again and again and again to this multiplayer chatter as I was just hearing people communicating with clearance. It was so cool. I switched to ground. Suddenly I'm hearing, all the people talking to ground at Van Nuys. I switched to Tower. Suddenly I'm hearing, people talking to Tower at Van Nuys. The runways matched. The situations matched. Everything was great. Like, it was perfect. It was amazing. This and by the way, when we conceived of this feature, I thought, well, that'll be kind of cool. We could do that. That'll be kind of cool. That'll really help the chatter. And then I implemented it, and just like always, as soon as it was done and I started using it, I went, okay, this is really cool. Like, there was this emotional reaction that came from me as I was sitting there going, holy smokes, I feel like I'm sitting here listening to, a real radio at the airport right now. This is really, really great. The question comes in, well, what about sharing my audio? Well, right now, the only chatter that you'll hear in pre-recorded multiplayer proximity, we need to be better at branding, I guess. The only chatter that you'll hear in that scenario is people who had already opted in to have their multiplayer audio shared, right? So no, shouldn't be any issues there with somebody saying, hey, whoa, I didn't know you were going to share my audio. You already checked the box and allowed it to be used live and allowed other people to hear it, et cetera, et cetera. If you want that gone, there is a setting on our website you can go to delete all of your historical communications, et cetera, et cetera. You can get them out of there. You can delete them anytime you want. You're in full control. But we aren't going to share your audio unless you've allowed us to share your audio. It's really that simple. So that last checkbox might be the most important. You want to allow your audio to be heard by other SayIntentions pilots. This will be opt-in, not opt-out, meaning by default that checkbox is off. But checking this box basically means that your audio can be heard on our website with our flight tracker, right? Super cool. It can be used for chatter, which we're demonstrating here, or even promotional purposes. I may pull it out and put it in a quick video clip or something. I really, really, really would be grateful if people turned this on, especially if you're comfortable with your radio comms even a little bit. Because it enhances the experience for everybody when you do this. When you share your audio and other people share your audio, we all have, a more authentic experience in the air. The only caveat to all of this is that your comms must remain professional and family friendly. However, that is the rule regardless of whether your, shared audio is turned on or not. This is just, we're trying to create an authentic professional experience. And, we ask that you stick to that either way. If you're in a noisy environment, if you're in a spot where, your wife is yelling at you because you're spending too much time on the flight simulator, et cetera, you might consider turning that off so that, we don't intentionally inject, strange noise into our chatter feeds. By the way, we can remove that stuff if it's brought to our attention. We can get it out of there. So. Yes, Kip, will the pre-recorded multiplayer also play back the AI that responded to the person? Yes, you'll actually hear them communicate with Tower. So they'll say something to Tower will say something back, they'll say something back, Tower will say something back. You'll actually hear the conversation happening. It's really, really cool. It feels very authentic. By the way, this is live now. So you can go get the app right now. You can turn it on. You can set checkboxes this way and sit on the ground at your favorite airport, and you're going to hear other pilots there. It's really cool. Do we screen the audio first so that the mess-ups don't get used? No, because guess what happens in real life? Mess-ups. Go sit on the ground at your favorite airport, especially if they have a flight school. You're going to hear tons of people messing up. It's okay. We're all okay with that, right? We're all here to learn. We're all here to get better. It's no big deal. There you go, ladies and gentlemen. This pre-recorded multiplayer proximity, I know it's a single checkbox in the app, but the experience is wildly, wildly cool, right? All right. Enjoy, everybody. Thank you. Appreciate all you guys do. Bring the bug reports, the fixes, the feature suggestions into our Discord. We've got an amazing team. Huge thanks to our development team and our admin team for everything that they do in making this project real. We appreciate all of you. Thank you. What about Unicom? Yeah, it works, John. So if you're on a CTAF frequency, for example, and you're at your favorite airport and there's a CTAF, it's CTAF only, it's not controlled. You're going to hear other CTAF SayIntentions pilots as long as they've been making their call outs, right? Then you'll hear them. What we find often though is that people get into these CTAF airports and they just put the radio down and stop using it. Don't do that. Practice. All right, everybody. Yes, if we do have issues of multiplayer chatter being bad or bugged or it's full of junk or anything like that, just let us know. We'll pull it out. We can sort of forcefully remove users from participation in that if we need to. So it's no big deal. The question about the chatter volume, we removed it. It was creating more confusion than it was solving because it needs to be a sub function of COM1, COM2 volume. And real airplanes don't have a chatter volume knob, right? You have to learn to listen for your call sign. Ultimately, I felt like it was a little bit of a novelty feature, and we decided to remove it because it's not realistic. All right. Thanks, everybody. Appreciate you guys. Go to bed if you're in Europe, and we'll catch you next Thursday for yet another announcement. Next Thursday's announcement is it's pretty cool. I think you guys are going to be excited about it.